What's up, hobby friends? My name's Casey, and this is eBay Miniature Rescues. Today, we're going to go to a Warhammer tournament. So we're going to start day one off a little bit differently because I actually filmed this a couple of days ago, basically. The tournament was over the weekend and I got to go participate and judge part of the painting competition for that tournament. So why don't we just go back in time a little bit and see how things went for what I'm calling day one of this hobby vlog. After what seems like forever, or at least for far too long, I was able to go out and see Warhammer being played in the wild. A couple of weeks ago, I got an email asking if I'd like to be a part of the judging panel for a Warhammer 40k tournament called Rage. So here we are, hanging out at the GT. People getting together, playing Warhammer, and having fun again. Personally, I'm not much for the competitive aspect of Warhammer, but being at a tournament really does get that desire to play going really quickly. One of the coolest things about the event was that all of the armies in the room were painted to a good standard. There were some that were probably thrown together pretty last minute, but even those rare instances, the color choices were still nicely done. All in all, a really great event and something I can't wait to see more of in the coming months. As for the reason I was actually there, the judging. Well, I've never judged a painting portion of a Warhammer tournament before, so it was a little bit nerve-wracking, along with pretty exciting to see all of the armies and to figure out how that worked. Luckily, Caleb back from CK Studios was there as well as a guest judge for the competition. So I felt a little better knowing that the final decision wasn't just on my shoulders. We looked over some seriously well-painted armies, taking our time, weighing the decisions. In this case, we voted for the top 5 in the order we liked most. Each spot was assigned points. The army with the most points at the end between the judges got placed into their final positions. After the judging was over, I hung out and talked to other Warhammer fans. It was seriously great being able to talk shop, so to speak, with so many other miniature enthusiasts, actively chatting about oil washes versus traditional, what paints have been working for you and what haven't. The little things we miss when we're stuck at home painting by ourselves. That brings me to the last thing that I want to talk about this particular subject, and something I'm very much looking forward to. If you are close to the Northern Nevada area, there will be a paint and hangout session every third Friday of the month at the Reno Game Castle. I'll put all the information in the description below if that's something you're interested in. The idea is though, if you want to come by and hang out with me and Caleb and other painters that are in the area, don't hesitate to come by and have some fun. Wrapping up the first day, I just want to say thank you to the Rage GT team for putting on the event and for having me play a very small role. Time to pack it in and get ready for some day 2 hobby. I have no idea what I'm going to do yet. So welcome to day 2. Now remember, I started filming day 1 on day 2, then we went back in time and now it's day 2, which is why I'm wearing the same shirt. Let's get into what day 2 is all about. So specifically, I'm working on this knight right now. Obviously, we've done quite a bit of work to this, but the idea is we're going to put bits on it. We're going to get it looking more like a renegade knight. We've kind of made a decision about a lot of those 3D printed parts. So let's update that and then kind of see where we're going to go from there. Now that we've gone and put some of the other parts on, started working with some of the chain, got the little bell on there, I'm feeling pretty good about the direction of this Renegade Knight. Now obviously the rest of this stuff is pretty stock as far as the paneling goes, but the way that I want to do this is I'd like this to be more representative of, you know, Deathguard and Nurgle in general, rather than something overly disgusting. And I know that Nurgle traditionally is overly disgusting, but in this case, there's just too many cool parts on this model, and I don't want to take away from them. You know, these weren't exactly super inexpensive. So I want to highlight the fact that we have these parts and that they look cool on this model, while also adding this chaotic aesthetic all over the model. And there's still a lot to do with the actual base. We're gonna have to do a whole platform. I wanna make a platform for him to stand on top of the base. So, you know, he'll be raised a little bit, you know, rule of cool, right? We're gonna make it look as cool as we can, worry about everything after. So that's kind of where we're at. Let's look for some more stuff for the base, continue to do this, and I think we can get some paint on this guy today. So first things first, I'm going to take all the pieces, kind of line them up, and then decide where a lot of these extra bits are going to go. I bought some extra chain, I got some fancy spikes out of my bits box, and I'm just trying to make this thing look, you know, as much like a Renegade Knight as I can with what I have. The idea is that I'm going to be putting more chain on everything to kind of get that chaotic aesthetic all over the model. I'm also going to try and match a lot of the colors with obviously the rest of the Deathguard army and doing a lot of the chevron work that we did on the tanks. It's all going to kind of wrap up together and it should look pretty nice. The bell that's actually hanging from his torso is actually taking the place of the banner that would be there normally. The nice thing about this bell is that it is 3D printed and it has the mark of Nurgle on it. So that's just going to be one extra little step above. From there, we need to get this guy a little bit more chipping medium, and then it needs to be painted. Once the chipping medium has been reapplied to any areas that it actually needed again, I'm going to go over everything with ivory. Once that paint is dry, we're going to reactivate that chipping medium using water and a toothbrush. I'm just going to gently go over everything and reveal all of the chips underneath that paint. After all the chipping is taken care of, I'm going to use masking tape to create chevrons and caution lines on a majority of the pieces. I'm then going to follow that up with yellow and a little bit of brown in the shadows. Now for the satisfying part of removing the masking tape. Now, I know this doesn't exactly look like Deathguard right now, but like I said, I want to be a little bit representative of that. Now, we are dealing with some chaos symbols, and we are dealing with skulls and chains and all these things that definitely go together. Now, this is very unique to my personal army, where the pops of color are definitely not ones you're going to see in every Deathguard army. So it is going to be representative of my personal army. That being said, I am taking these two pieces and I'm showing you exactly what I'm doing in order to get them to be more of the grimdark kind of Deathguard look. So once the metals go on, really dark metals, I'm going to come back in with brown enamel. I'm going to let that sit for at least 15 minutes and then come back in with a little bit of mineral spirits and start to gently wipe that away. Now, the reason I'm doing it gently is because I want to mix the mineral spirits in with that enamel and start to create streaks that go down each piece of the model. You can see going back and forth how it's creating texture and lines and grime on each piece of this model. So it's a little bit of back and forth. It's kind of fun to just play around and do different things, and you know, you have different consistencies, and I'm just going to do that until I feel pretty happy with it. I think that looks pretty good. It's got the chipping, it's got the grime, and it has the same look that the rest of my Deathguard army already has with the chevrons. While the enamels are still wet, while the mineral spirits are still on, I'm going to dab on some rusty, it's actually a rust wash, and that's going to react with the oils and kind of separate and give us a little bit of a unique look. It's also going to really dull down the metals. Once that's dry, I'm going to come back in with some patina. Now I know, I've said this before, rust and patina don't go together. But look, this is Deathguard, it's fantasy, and it looks pretty cool together. Now the difference is, I am bringing in that kind of bluish green patina, but I'm also bringing in that white. So very aged look, kind of old and gross altogether. But not over the top and overly done. Kind of somewhere in the middle. The effect on this particular shoulder pad is pretty subtle. It's not over the top, and I think it really looks good with the model itself. On the other shoulder pad, I'm planning on using some stencils or maybe some decals. I'm not sure which yet. Still in the works with that, have to have some conversations with some folks. But something that makes this guy stand out a little bit more. I'm also trying to think up a name for this model. Right now, Nurgling is kind of the front runner. We'll see. So this is the shield. This thing is as tall as the knight, and I'm doing the same thing, same process as the shoulder pad, only I'm trying to be a little bit more thoughtful when it comes to, you know, the lights, the shadows, that kind of thing, and my placement for a lot of these colors. So as you can see, the patina is going in kind of the highlight area, and I'm going to put rust in kind of the shadow area. I'm also going to let that stuff kind of mix together in the same way as I did on the other one and wipe that off so that a lot of it is in the recesses. The last thing I'm going to do that's really going to make this stand out and continue to push the theme of this particular army is adding that fluorescent pink. And I'm going to drop that right into his eyes and then load up and get real close with some white ink and just give him those real nasty glowing eyes. Now, I am a pretty huge fan of the way that this turned out, and I'm already starting to see where this guy is going, where he's going to end up, and I'm pretty excited. Now, one of the bonus things here is I'm taking green ink and shooting that lightly onto all of those highlight areas. Now it's kind of a greenish blue. Again, we're accentuating that patina, but we're also kind of getting a skyish reflection in the top parts of our metallics. So you can see I'm putting it in the temples, and that's just giving it a little bit more lifelike look. I'm also taking purple and a little bit of brown and accentuating those shadows. Here in particular, right below the skull, making it a little bit darker, bringing in some of the brown in with that yellow. It's really making that pink just pop right out of those eyes. One of the really nice things about using a model of this size is that you really get to play around using the airbrush and different techniques that you wouldn't normally do on a smaller model. These are really great pieces to practice on for weathering, and I've been having a lot of fun doing that. I'm pretty excited with the direction that this knight is taking, and I think it's almost there. I think we're getting there. There's so much more work to do on this particular model, but I'm excited, and you know, I hope you are too. Alrighty guys, well, I think that's gonna do it for this week. Thank you again for joining me on another miniature rescue. If you enjoyed something about this episode, please consider liking, sharing, and subscribing, as it really helps out the channel. Once again, I've been Casey, and I will see you in the next video.